We on?
We are on.
Wonderful. Hi, everyone.
Good morning.
Good to see you all. So once again, I foolishly decided I'm going to do this 9:15 lesson because they needed a volunteer. And my topic, New Year's resolutions. My title is Being Resolute. And I just love New Year's resolutions. So I thought I'd talk about that. But then I look out, as always, in this group, and I see somebody with a strong background in behavioral science and somebody who's a powerful manifester. And what's a resolution if not a manifestation, right? And I see somebody who's a committed Buddhist and this is not an easy group to share this lesson with. So I'm hoping you'll all speak up. And the rest of you, I just don't know very well. You probably bring equally terrifying gifts to the fore. So do feel free to talk. I don't see our microphone, but oh, you got it. John's got it. And don't stand on ceremony. Just speak up. So anyway, I'm going to try to tamp down my evangelical streak because we don't come to Unity for evangelism, but I love resolutions. I love the idea of being able to just live the life you want and taking this day to say, I'm going to do it now. And I'm a fan to the point of giddiness about that, just living the life you want to live. So resolutions, I looked this up. 4,000 years ago, Babylonians celebrated the new year on the first new moon after the spring equinox, and they called it Akitu. And it was a festival lasting 11 days. And during the festival, they made New Year's resolutions to keep themselves in good standing with the gods. And then the Romans took that on too, to make promises to their gods, resolutions. That's something we've done for a long time to say, here's a new start. I'm going to make it my personal new start. I checked some research. The Pew Research Center says 3 in 10 people make resolutions. And about half of those people make multiple resolutions. 1 month in, only 13% report having fallen off. 87% have stuck with at least some idea of a resolution. And that's, when you hear people talk negatively about my favorite holiday, New Year's, and resolutions, they're always like, oh, people are going to give that up anyway. And, well, my goodness, if you give it up after a week, you've had a week of doing something you want to do with your life. That's a good week. That's better than most of my weeks, doing something that I really believe in. Resolutions, by the way, are a younger person's game. 49% of adults ages 18 to 29 make resolutions. Only a third, ages 30 to 49, make resolutions, and a fifth of us 50 and older make resolutions. So I suppose it keeps us young if we keep at it. Guess what? Differences based on gender, ethnicity, and get this, partisanship are negligible. Republicans and Democrats are the same when it comes to making resolutions. We're all out there trying, and we're not trying at the same rate. I find that comforting for some reason. We have something in common. In Unity, I kind of think of Myrtle Fillmore as this great example of somebody who made resolutions, right? She was told she had 6 months to live. She made a resolution to let go of her tuberculosis by saying, we know the famous statement, right? I'm a child of God and I do not inherit sickness. That's kind of a resolution to say, I am not going to have tuberculosis. I resolve not to do that. In fact, we don't inherit any condition we don't want. We're born to original blessing. We inherit divine grace and infinite power. And we don't inherit not drinking the 64 ounces of water a day we want to drink. We don't inherit being chubby when we want to be svelte, right? That's not ours. We can let go of any condition we don't want. The only thing about resolutions is they kind of have a start time. I was online yesterday And a friend said, she asked the question, what's the difference between a goal and a resolution? And so I'm so accustomed to naysayers. You'll see it all over my face. I just hate this. But somebody spoke up to say, oh, resolutions, that's something that you'll eventually fail. A goal sets you up to succeed, but a resolution sets you up to fail. Well, guess what? We often fall short of our goals too. We fail at goals if you want to look at it that way, but why do we want to look at it that way, right? There's a resolution and a goal. The real difference is a resolution is a goal that has a starting pistol, right? It says January 1st, I'm going to start doing this thing. Only not just January 1st. I do resolutions on New Year's. Then I have a January birthday on the 21st, and I start again. Anything I've fallen off the wagon, I pick it up again. Beginnings of seasons, I'll make resolutions every month, every week, every Monday. I'll say, this week I'm going to do this, and they're kind of resolutions. To me, the difference is the starting point. Starting today, I'm going to do blank. So there's another difference too. Goals can be hazy, right? I'd like to learn Spanish. A resolution says, I'm going to start learning Spanish. You hear the slight difference there? A resolution has you signing up for Duolingo or grabbing a Spanish book of poetry with the like English translation on the side, or watching Spanish television with subtitles. A resolution has you doing something. A goal is just like, someday I think I'll learn Spanish. I think that's a difference too. Is this from research? No, it's from my brain. But that's my thinking about resolutions. Do you guys have any thoughts about resolutions and definition? Yeah, Dan has an idea. Oh, and Don has a thought.
For me, a goal has a finishing point.
A goal does.
Yeah, if you want to complete a project. Yeah. You set a point, you either make it or you don't.
Yeah.
With a resolution, it has no.
Yeah.
It's assuming another plateau and maintain.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that sounds like a pretty good addition to that definition. Yeah.
I'd rather look at it from the vantage point every day. You're living with intent. You don't really need an overarching resolution or goal, as long as you have a sense of what that is, only a sense of it. Mm-hmm. Then having intention to move in that direction. Yeah. So all of your activities on any given day begin, what is my intention today that contributes to that? That's what I love about gardening and nature, because you can follow nature, whether it's in your yard or how you look at things, as a stepping stone, as a way of intent and gearing it towards the seasons, which historically what we always did. We always look to the new year as coming out of this winter and moving into a new beginning, which is what the goal of the intention is. So that's what I always find. I just like living with intent.
Yeah, I like that. And here's the thing I'm hearing. You set goals, you set intentions, or maybe you recognize these things in you. And that's kind of the commonality with resolution, that it's something that you set. It's got a starting point. You take off and you pursue it in whatever way you're going to pursue it. You have a thought.
Yeah, I liked the gardening piece because, you plant stuff, but you don't really know what's going to happen. Yeah. You have hopes about it, and you have some kind of an expectation, but you don't really know it. Sometimes it's like, whoa, way better than what you thought it was going to be. Sometimes you go, conditions must not have been correct, and watery, whatever. Also, I have something called a SMART goal.
Oh, yes. I was going to talk about that. Go there. Yeah.
So the, which is, where the goal is specific, and again, it definitely has an end point where the resolution has the beginning point.
Yeah.
So they could somehow be, connected in that way. But the other thing is that, like Dan was saying, if you want to really let the universe have a play in it, you don't want to get too specific.
Yeah.
And where the SMART goal, that really is in specific,
That's
achievable. So you're limiting yourself by what you think is achievable and relevant and attainable, because it may be way beyond what you are thinking it is.
That's a good point.
And then the time boundness, which time's kind of not really there.
Good point.
You always add this or something better.
That's right, absolutely. I love the garden comparison too. Today I planted my first garden, or this year I planted my first garden, and I went out to my little plot, and I was like, what the hell is this? And can I eat it? Or is it a weed? I don't even know what this is. I've never planted it before, and I don't really recognize it from the farmer's market, and I don't know if it'll sustain me or poison me, but here it is. A fruit came up, and I did that.
It's always fun to watch the Master Garden plant sale. And you'll have hundreds of people come in that take home all these little plants, with the vision of planting them. And I never could figure out why, for example, we would, it's always the last weekend of April. Well, sometimes we can't plant tomatoes the last weekend. We have to wait until the weather is right to plant those tomatoes. Otherwise, they're going to get too cold if you plant them now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the analogy there is to build into something as a goal, as a achievable goal that you begin working on in a small way that moves us in the direction of our intent. I always live with that intent idea.
Yeah, I like that.
I'd like to add to that.
Yes.
I like the idea of the garden that you bring up, because I think of a garden as something that is growing and changing all the time. Yeah. So when I set an intention, I like it to not be something that's locked into a limited word at the moment that I set it, because I realize that I only see the direction that my intent is going.
Yeah.
And so if I can allow that intent to be an expanding, ever-growing concept, as I begin to move into it, I see parts of it that I wasn't aware of, and it allows me to modify it, change it, be more intense with it, and as the garden grows, so does our consciousness about what our intent is about.
Yeah. Well, and another nice thing about the garden is people tend to have a more forgiving attitude toward gardening. The more sophisticated gardeners will say, what is the thing they say? First year it sleeps, and then it creeps, and then the third year it's finally leaps. Yeah. That's what they say, yeah.
That's the way it is with perennials.
Yeah.
You don't begin the seeds for perennials like in February or March, and then they grow as small, but you don't expect flowers that first year.
Yeah.
The perennials aren't really going to give you the flowers you're looking for until the third year. So it's like you're waiting for them to mature enough to be able to give you the outcome that you're trying to get to. So it's that process of learning to grow into that, to allow ourselves the opportunity that we don't have to do it all today. Yeah. It's a matter of planning.
And this is something I'm hoping to get at in this talk, that I think people make a lot of mistakes with New Year's resolutions. It's really a chance to plant your garden, be the person you want to be, manifest. It's a chance to start doing that. But then people are like, I want to lose 20 pounds by such and such a date. Well, what a ridiculous goal for yourself. Does that say anything about who you would like to be or how you would like to feel? Do you have a forgiving attitude, like you're willing to wait for the flowers, even if it takes a few years, right? Yeah,
Along with the plant metaphor and perennial, if anybody's ever planted fruit or nut trees and bought them at 1 foot tall, it's more several years, you know. And yeah, at least, I mean, you know, and like a walnut tree before it's really producing, talking quite a few years. And I think we're more like trees.
well, in another way too, because my former husband lived in Maine, and we would go for walks, and we'd wend our way through fields and end up at an old orchard that must have been 150 years old. And I didn't know plants could continue to produce in this way, but there'd still be eaten apple that you can't find on the shelf because I don't think they make those apples anymore. But these ancient things that were planted a long time ago, they're probably the children of trees that were there originally, but like here they are. Somebody planted that, and by golly, it's this rare and wonderful thing that's miraculously there. Yeah. It took a while to get there, but then unbelievable how long lasting things are.
When I was in Israel, there were trees that were there when Jesus was there, olive trees that were still there and still bearing.
Yeah.
So
Over 2,000 years ago.
And they're not giant, right? They're stunted, like smaller than you would imagine.
they're fair size, but they're not like California redwoods, that's for sure.
I've seen photos.
Yeah.
Back to New Year's resolutions. A new year is an undeniable new start, and that's always a good chance for reflection. We could think about the year past and how it went. We could think about who we are now, and if it's aligned with who we'd like to be, and maybe who we set out to be, or who we know we have the capacity to be. The New Year's any new start, new segment, right, is what Abraham would call it. Any new segment is a new chance to reflect on possibility. And I talk about this all the time, but I'm a poet, like Don over there. It's a character trait, being a poet. I have a poet's mind. So I spot beauty in unexpected places, and I look to see the pathos and humanity in situations. As a poet, I could be just as frustrated in the checkout line as anybody else, but I'm likely to see the humanity behind the thing. What human thing is causing the delay? Is someone struggling to count out their money and have enough to pay? Is somebody new at the machine and doesn't know what they're doing? The poet's curious about the humanity and what's leading to this stuff that's happening. Maybe somebody's sharing a few minutes of connection with somebody, and that's the only connection they'll have that day, that week. So I'm looking at that stuff all the time. Don has a thought. He's relating.
There's a comment in passing. I've noticed that you can always tell the kind of person a poet is by the kind of work they turn out.
Yeah.
If they're a pessimist,
Yeah.
They'll be dark.
Yeah.
If they're an optimist, they'll be very light. If they're a dreamer, that'll come out. But you can tell it as soon as you start reading their stuff.
Yeah. That's a great point. So Don can't turn off being a poet. We're going to have that poet mind all the time working. And I take pride in that. That's a part of me that I appreciate and like. Not all parts of me share that stature, but that's my most honored part of myself. But guess what a poet also does? They write poems. And I don't always do that. Right? I could call myself a poet all day long, but if I don't produce a poem, I'm not really being a poet, right? I know lots of people who talk about being writers and they don't write. And that's hard. That is a human thing. How am I going to find time in my work and parent life to put words on the page? That's something where a resolution can kind of help you. Yeah.
Well, one of these I do is I live in my writing.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm going through my day and I'll be watching something on TV. a movie or some show, and it'll click. Whatever's being said is the same direction of that what I need to say next. And I think if you live in that awareness of always trying to move into the direction of your highest good, then it's a natural. It takes practice, but after a while, what really caught me 30 years ago when I started writing, there's the line that says, you know, who you are, you know, what you write is who you are going to become. Wow, that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
But it's the idea of your highest good being tied to virtue. And if you do that, and you look for that in everyday activities that you go through your day, it blends. There's a blending of your actions and your writing that is it's just automatic.
Yeah.
And you're looking for that word that fits the description of how you want to project what it is you need to say today. And I think it's that awareness that we bring to life that really makes us the person who we ultimately are going to become.
Yeah, I like that. The something else. The world's made of words, so they always drop into your basket if you're in the picking mode, right? Get back to gardening. I will say, I'll bet you and I don't have this in common, Don, as poets, but I don't enjoy writing. Writing is hard for me. I go to places that I don't think are much fun to be, and I make meaning out of them, and I have to tell you, I love having written. That's my reward, is having written. The writing is sometimes hard intellectually, and it's sometimes hard emotionally, but when I've written something that says something that I recognize as true, I love that. That feels good. But boy, it's hard to get yourself to the page when you know it's maybe not going to be much fun. I could tell Don has fun when he writes poetry because his poems are fun. My poems aren't fun, but I like them anyway. Yeah.
He'll take a break to play games, but he's ready to go back to his poems.
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, there's so many ways to make art, and my way is not enjoyable to craft. So, hey, Don's got his hand up here.
As long as we're on the subject.
We're giving John his stuff.
You started it.
I did. Everybody else is like, why are they talking about writing?
Yeah. I find that I have to write when it hits me.
Yeah.
I spent from 4 to 7 this morning on the computer. I shouldn't have been. I should have been sleeping.
Yeah.
But that's when it happened, and that's when I had to write. Yeah. Because if I don't, I forget.
That poem's going to come down the McCann Avenue, and I'm going to get in it for sleeping.
No, I just forget. It's always been that way.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta have your catcher's mitt out. You guys are hearing a lot about writing, but substitute your own desires and practices when you hear this.
Well, the same probably as what he was saying, but my computer is always on. So something will hit me about 4 o'clock in the morning like that. Mm-hmm. And I'll go over and I'll just write down a line or two. And but a lot of people say when you write a lot, you try to write at night many times before you go to sleep, before you go to bed. Because the thoughts don't end when you go to sleep, the thoughts are always present. And it's like you're trying to work that out. Yeah. As to what is that, what are you trying to say here? Yeah. What is it that is the intention of you ultimately you're trying to reach? So as Don was saying, that's absolutely right. Sometimes you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and, oh, yeah, that's what I need. And the vocabulary, vocabulary to me is the most incredible thing. Because words take us to places we wouldn't otherwise go.
They come from places we wouldn't otherwise go.
And that's really important.
You know, this, for me, tends to lean into the idea of the progression of intentions. I find that it's real easy to make an intention and then become distant from it, distracted from it, or perhaps not really putting the concentration that it takes to hold it.
Yeah.
Anything that's going to have substance has to be held.
I'm writing that down too.
So what I find is that my intention is to be alert and aware as to where is it moving. It's a constant progress because what I intend up front gets modified before I get to the destination. So I don't see the end result in its final image. I see a shadow of it, and it has some emotion to it. But I think it takes a focus in the mind to not be loose with it. If we let things go and we get lazy, maybe it's a word, we pull away from the strength. It's like if you're going out to something that has to be pulled with a device like a chain or a string or a rope or whatever.
Taffy, let's say taffy.
It takes a continued pulling, and if you let go of it, you lose it. Yeah. And I think sometimes, particularly as Americans, we've had so many kinds of things that give us comfort that sometimes we tend to just kind of sit back down, get a little bit distracted with our minds, and we don't take it as a serious goal to hold. Yeah. And it's like anything that's valuable, if you don't hang on to it, you lose it. And I think that's sometimes why maybe an intention that we would set at a particular time, it sounds real good at the moment. Oh, and then we look to the left, we look to the right, and we forget to stay with it and let it grow, let it become brighter, let it become stronger, or let it become modified and reformed, reshaped, like a painter would do. They start with certain kind of colors and then they add more to it. And then they back up and brush it a little bit. But if we just get tired, lazy, and we don't discipline our minds, we fall asleep. And I think intentions quite often are like that. We fall asleep.
Yeah. That's a great thing. We know who we'd like to be, but we don't always give ourselves the space and time and energy to be it.
One final thought with that is when I used to do master planning in neighborhoods, it was really amazing how bringing people together and creating a collective vision, where individually they didn't have a sense of something they could do, but collectively there was a thought or intention they may have had, but they didn't give themselves permission to go there. And one of the things I always found getting a group together like that is where you may have a goal in mind, but you don't know what it's going to look like. Yeah. Is really important, but something I always find very interesting.
Well, and giving yourself permission to go there does kind of remind me of this topic. The writing, I brought that up to say a good writing goal or resolution for me would be to write every day, or to write once a week, or to write for 10 minutes during my lunch hour, but something that makes sense in my life. If that's who I'd like to be, I should probably find a way to fit it into my life, because otherwise my kids are going to take over all the time and my job's going to take over all the time. If I really consider myself a writer, I better find some way. That's a germ of a resolution right there. What makes sense and how could I fit it in? Yes.
So, I don't think that there's any resolution that is less important or less spiritual or less anything. And I don't think resolutions, that we focus on them at the beginning of the year, but we do them all the time. Yeah. And it's just the nature of who we are. And, I look back and in my life, and those resolutions that were really materially based, again, not bad. I'm learning to practice my power. I'm learning to, express myself here, and all of those things are a part of that. And when they are very material based with an idea that moving around this material stuff is the cause of something, and therefore is going to create the effect that I want, never really works. Not for very long.
That's a good point.
You know, you might lose all the weight, but what's behind it is never changed. You know, and when 95% of people who do that just gain it back or more. So it's already, but having said that, I think that's all part of the process. So it's all wonderful. And all of it is moving toward becoming and recognizing who we are. And I don't care what religion that you belong to. I don't care what ethnicity or society or any of those things. It's all part of the story here. And so it's kind of wonderful. I'm a little bit in a euphoric state right now because of our resolution, which has already started the day after, and which John and I are doing, and just basic turning everything over to our higher self.
That's the resolution?
Yes, making our relationship with our higher self the only desire in our heart, and then just living in gratitude. And we are just like little children walking around in absolute joy and happiness. It's just such for 60 days.
Oh, that's nice.
And so we're just starting, and I'm just sitting here. Oh my gosh, it's so good to be
That's
sitting.
so nice. And I saw you two making out a little bit too. I think that's
Never
lovely.
catch that anytime.
Interesting what you say about the material stuff too. Did you have a thought, John?
Go ahead.
Oh, I lost a lot of weight recently, but from my height, pregnancy, now, I've lost 100 pounds. I know I don't look skinny, but I've lost 100 pounds, and it's been through the process of, well, I had to have a baby. That weight just naturally went away, but after that, it was swimming. Like every day I go swimming, and that's a good goal to have. To just I'm gonna exercise, but I never said I'm gonna lose X number of pounds. I said I'm gonna swim almost every day that I can. Yeah.
When I started teaching, it was in the second semester, and everybody was getting ready to go home for Chinese New Year's. And I was going to be off for the next 2 weeks because they celebrate Chinese New Year's over a long period of time.
Well, more power to them.
You know, maybe 10 days or 2 weeks, depending on where it falls on the lunar calendar. You know, and the amazing thing about the Chinese New Year's is there's hundreds of millions of people on the road going home over that time.
Wow.
It's up to the billions of people
That makes us
that make trips on the train back and going home because it is so much into their culture. The New Year coming together with family. One of the amazing little things they would do is the girls would work with their mothers in making dumplings. Making dumplings at Chinese New Year's was a tradition that went back hundreds of years. But it was so much tied into that sense of identity because in order to go forward, you have to know from where you came. You have to have a sense of self that gives you the comfort and ability to go there. And that's that little thing of just making the dumplings for the girls was always such an amazing thing. Many times some of my students would want to bring me some or one thing or another because the teachers and one thing or another, tradition of sharing of the people who impact your lives in a positive way. But that idea of celebrating the new year is over a long period of time, over maybe 10 days to 2 weeks, which is kind of mind-blowing almost, compared to the way we think of it, just one day and it's done.
Dan, when is Chinese New Year's?
It changes every year. This year, I think we're going into the year of the course. But it generally falls anywhere between like the 1st of February to the 20th of February. It's never the same. It's the lunar calendar that determines the new year. Maybe I'll give a program in February.
Oh, good, yes, that'd be great.
Talking about the Chinese New Year.
I think we'd enjoy that, yeah.
So
You're
could
so
use-
mischievous, I just,
you could just notch it up a bit. One year, I celebrated New Year and resolutions, and part of the resolutions was letting go, and then resolution. And we were out in the woods dancing naked around a bonfire
all right.
while we get our new. So we can plan a group here. We can plan a
Where are the nearest woods?
That's-
If you go to that park across the street, wouldn't Springfield be surprised? Not at all, to see
Yeah,
the Unity
there you go.
football in the park. So,
You're really honest with yourself when you're dancing naked.
you gotta
I
be.
don't know.
John, enlighten us. No? Okay. Don't be shy.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So, more generically, away from writing, other
Yeah.
in terms of is the whole idea when making a resolution is hesitation
Yeah.
to begin, to start, and why for me resolutions are kind of important because sometimes you feel and think certain things are going, and like, oh, I really want to do this, I should do this. And what's the hesitation? And it's individual for each person, but sometimes we have to get a handle on that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Is it that you're scared to be who you have the potential to be? Might even be something like that.
I believe it's more important to just go back to the root of the word is resolve.
Yeah.
And you're just resolving an issue that you feel you need to deal with.
Oh, resolving, like fixing a problem. Yeah.
That's where resolution comes from.
Well,
But resolve to me has, well, now you may know the vocabulary better than me, but resolve to me has more of an emotion to it.
yeah.
If that
Resolve
makes any
to
sense.
untangle something that's messed up. Yeah, I think that's quite good.
Again, resolve.
Yeah.
So you solved it once, but then you're going to resolve it.
Now, a lot of people, but to get back to weight loss, do try to lose weight every week. Let's talk about that before we move on.
Well, the word that comes to me as we're progressing with our conversation is
Yeah.
flexibility. And the reason I say that is I've made a real focus last year to, when I set an intention, I have a destination, I'm heading there. I always try to be flexible in case I've missed part of the vision. In other words, I've got an outline of it, but I don't have the full details. And I find that much of the time when I'm just sensitive and waiting, along the trip, I get a new direction. And it's not like it takes me to another place, except, I'll give you an example. I was on my way home from the campus one time, and I was 3 bus stops away from jumping off. And all of a sudden, inside of me, I just felt like I'm supposed to get off at this next stop. Well, why do I get off 2 stops early? And I thought, well, that's strange, but I will do it. And I didn't know why, but I had been sensitive that there was something that I was supposed to do that I didn't quite know the full outcome of it or the definition of it. I no more than got off, and I felt I'm supposed to walk down the trail here. It was on the Greenway Trail over there. And I went the opposite direction from my house. So I started walking down. I thought, there's something down here. And I no more than got 200 feet down in it where it was just a little bit private. And 2 individuals came up. And it's amazing the conversation and the creativity that took place in the next hour, standing there in the middle of the trail. Now, had I planned that, I wouldn't have known those 2 people because I've never met them before. But when we were done, all 3 of us found something that was very, very valuable in friendship and in sharing and growth and aspirations. And had I just the normal thing and the routine, I would have missed. And there's nothing wrong with missing. You know, there's a lot of learning when we miss. But it caused me to do that a little bit more frequently. And I am amazed at the open doors that were there, that when you're buzzing down the street, you're in your car, you know, you go from point A to point B, and there's no place in between to stop unless you got to get gas. But sometimes we need to refuel our spirit and our connection by being sensitive along the way. Sometimes the final destination isn't right here, right now. So I made that acquaintance with these two people, and there was a spiritual tie and it was all a spiritual conversation. It turned out they were on that wavelength, and so was I. And it was interesting because about 2 weeks later, late at night, about the time the mall was getting ready to close, I felt like I was supposed to go to the mall. Well, I don't need it. Why do I need to walk over through the mall? Well, I'm going to do it anyway because I felt the need to do it. I went over there and everybody was sleeping, and I walked into those two individuals again, and they didn't even live in this area. She said, "Do you remember us?" And I pulled out the photograph on my phone that we had taken together, you know, and I realized it was a confirmation to me that if you hear that still, small whisper, wake up, wake up, wake up.
Yeah. Something's pulling you to be who you want and need to be. By the way, I looked up while we were talking the etymology of resolution, and it's very interesting. And you're very close, Jerry. It's not like untangling some problem, but it's related to dissolve. It's dissolving, taking something down to its basic component parts. It comes from the 14th century.
Well, living is organic.
Yes, it is organic. So you were right on the money, Jerry. And it's process of reducing things into simpler forms. Yeah. Oh.
So when you were talking about what keeps us from doing our resolution,
yes.
What keeps us from, and the journey to starting this resolution at this time has been over 2 years in the making. Okay.
Yeah, so you thought about it for a while.
Well, and it was spirit directed to begin with, okay, and books showing up that nobody bought, and you know the universe. And when I say universe, God, you know, it's I have my own personal stuff. Why I use different names, but it is always behind us, always directing us, and so. When you say, well, why are you putting it off? You know, I was interested in starting this 6 months ago, but I had this quilt I needed to finish, and I had to get the retaining wall done in the backyard. And I had these trees that we need to cut down. And, you know, I mean, there was all of these things needed to be done. And then as it got closer, and I knew that I'm turning my whole life, every relationship, every feeling, everything over. Well, you know, having a psyche that is constructed through multiple personality and through having an internal community, my greatest fear was that they would not be happy. And let me tell you, if a whole bunch of individuals are inside of you and not happy, it's not always pleasant, okay? And so I kind of have been the mediator for that. But it's so interesting how when our heart is calling for something, and I'll say this, it's not, I don't see it as a bad thing, but one of the things recently between Donna and I, we never hardly ever argue, we never hardly have problems ever. And we had a discussion where he said, I do not like Lee, which is one of my main parts. And he said, I do not like her, which automatically means our relationship is over, ended, nothing. There's nothing there because I cannot choose between him and them. But the thing about it is we're going into this. My greatest fear again is that the internal community will be upset. And Spirit just made this beautiful experience where I was put in a place where I can no longer be with Dawn. I can no longer serve my community inside. And the only thing I could do was say, I hope this process will work. And it is. It's working beautifully. It's working beautifully. So when those struggles, when we make that commitment to ourselves to do something, we're not in it alone. And things happen, and sometimes they look horrible or devastating. But they are actually helping you to let go, just helping you to be free of something so that you can go where you want to go. And so it's been amazing.
Well, it is amazing. I have a fair bit to get through. Because it's New Year's resolutions as our topic, I gotta talk about weight loss, right? Because I checked Statista Consumer Insights, a polling company, says that weight loss is the 5th most common resolution to be made this year. That they were polling people in October and November. 31% intend to lose weight. Some people have more than one resolution. The first most common resolution, though, is more exercise, and the third is to eat healthier, and I think those are disguised weight loss goals, probably. I really suspect when people say they want to eat healthier, they're using positive language to say, I'd like to not be so fat. Because when it comes down to it, everybody's always wanting to lose weight. Well,
For some, it's gaining weight.
yes.
We lose sight of that. Everybody's trying to lose weight. No.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are underweight.
Yeah.
Because they don't eat enough calories every day.
Yeah.
And because they don't eat enough calories every day, they are systemically below the weight that they need to be able to sustain themselves.
Yeah.
So they don't eat right. We don't eat right. We don't eat the right things.
That's a good
We
point.
don't think about calories. I get so tired sometimes of looking at the internet of it and all. We have to lose weight. We have to lose weight. No, not everybody needs to lose weight.
Yeah.
Some people need to gain weight.
Yeah. You saw my chubby bias at work there. Exactly right. But I will say, weight loss or gain, those resolutions make me sad, right? I weigh 220 pounds on Earth. That is a reflection of Earth's gravitational pull on my body. If I'd like to weigh less, I could go to Venus and weigh 199.5 pounds. I suppose I could go to Mars and weigh 82.9 pounds, right? I would not go to the sun, where I'll weigh 5,955.8 pounds, and I'd better avoid a neutron star where I would weigh 30.8 quadrillion pounds. That would probably not suit my bathing suit.
Good idea.
Yeah. Stay away from neutron stars. Yeah, Jerry?
I personally think you're perfect.
Oh, thank you.
I
I love
understand
it.
it's not, I think as perfect. I think everybody's perfect.
Yeah.
You're perfectly who you are. That's good enough.
Yeah. I love that, and I love hearing it. Thank you for saying that. But I think when we think about losing weight, this gravitational pull, that's what weight is. It's not what we're talking about, right? We'd like to look different, or we'd like to feel different, or be able to perform differently in our bodies based on how much we lug around with us. So what's a better resolution than I want to lose weight? We could say, I want to move my body every day. Any other ideas for something that gets at what you might want from?
Well, and I was thinking that since a resolution is really a start,
Yeah.
that you do want your resolution to be an action.
Yeah.
And weight loss is more of a response.
Yes. Oh, that's so smart. Yes. So that notion of moving your body every day. I also made the resolution before, I want to do physical play every day. Just get out and have fun with my body somewhere in the world. Yeah.
Well, putting it in action, it's like you need to gain weight, so you eat a blender. It's going to be 48 ounces of fluid, and you're going to So with whatever nutrients you need to have, and you're going to drink every day.
Yeah.
And what that does is putting that intent into action, and you get to decide what it is you're going to eat that's going to help you get to the weight that you think you need to have.
I like this because you're just making a positive plan for like what you'd like to do to achieve this notion.
Right.
And you're not saying, I want to be less, I want to lose, you're saying, here's something I'd like to try, see how it makes me feel. I'd like to spend less time seated, stand up at my desk, something like that. I want to stop eating after 8, I want to not eat chips, but it's better to like make some positive notion. Like, I'd like to get out in nature every day, something like that. You have a thought?
Well, just one of the things, one time I really made a commitment to spend more time in the gym, and of course I gained weight because I gained muscle.
Yeah, that's a great point. So it's not gravity's impact on your body. But I don't think, by the way, you should lie to yourself. If you want to lose weight, you shouldn't just lie to yourself and skirt that. It's okay to own up to what your actual desire is, but you probably ought to examine what it is you want. Is there a resolution that'll help you be the person you'd like to be while loving the person you are? If you're just thinking, these pounds are ugly and they have to go, don't think that. These pounds are wonderful, like Jerry says, makes you beautiful. Okay, I was going to have an exercise where we sit and kind of picture our ideal selves, who we'd like to be, what our ideal life might look like, right? Do that on your own. Think about like, who do I want to be in this world, in this body? Let's talk briefly about how to set ourselves up for success, right? We're trying to establish with the resolution new habits. So, and science has some tips for us that John could probably help me straighten out if I get it twisted. A habit helps your brain conserve energy. It's much easier to just do something that's a habit than to think of some new way to do something that's not a habit. A habit puts your brain on autopilot, and it starts with a cue that you need to do some kind of behavior. From there, you go into the routine, whatever it is, and then ideally there's some reward. If it's like, gotta get to work, and then you drive the familiar route to work, then the reward is you're at work. Not a great reward, but there you go. But that's something that encourages the behavior again. If you don't show up at work, you'll certainly lose your job, and then you won't be encouraged. The first time you do something, though, it requires focus, but with enough repetition, the information will get stored in your basal ganglia, the brain's habit center, so it becomes automatic. John's nodding. So take a new route to work, and you're thinking you're not on automatic. You shouldn't be on pure automatic when you're driving anyway, but bear in mind that a great resolution is to break out of familiar habits and do something different every day too. Did you have a thought?
I had cookies for breakfast.
Cookies for breakfast. I'm reminded of that commercial with Cookie Crisp cereal. Yeah.
Here's a
Was
good
that
resolution.
intent?
Here's a good resolution. I just want to be healthy today.
Yeah, that is a good one. Whatever that
Doesn't
means.
matter how or what. It's open ended, and I can be healthy. Correct.
Yeah. To take it to the resolution level, you'd say, I want to be healthy. And then every day you kind of pick up the mantle again, maybe, but
Shouldn't it be something like an intention? I intend to
Good.
be healthy?
Yes.
sure.
Yes, it should
Yeah.
always be intent.
Whatever works,
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
And I think just making it today makes it
Yeah.
a resolution, or tomorrow, or what if you
Yeah.
haven't started.
Yeah.
Making it through the day.
Now, here's some pitfalls that can impede your progress. Think about this. You break your streak. You have tried to drink 64 ounces of water every day, and damn it, today I only drank 12 ounces of water. My streak's over. My resolution's ended. Well, you need water every damn day. Just drink water again tomorrow. Just because you break your streak doesn't mean you've lost the resolution, right? Any day you're not crawling on all fours through the desert, you can drink water. So go ahead and try drinking some water tomorrow. Yeah, doesn't matter if you break the streak. Yes.
So it's not failure, it's an experiment.
Yeah, oh, that's
And if you look at it as an experiment and you're not drinking enough water, how do you feel?
Yeah.
And so if you're not feeling as well and as hydrated as you'd like to be,
yeah,
then it's an experiment. And so now we know how we want to change it.
Yeah.
And so if we look at it, even with food,
yeah,
or anything, it's an experiment.
Yeah.
And if we evaluate how it makes us feel, then it gives us the incentive to work within the experiment and try something that might come out with a different result than you want, with a result that you want. Yeah, I know. But it's so if you look at it that way,
Yeah.
then it changes your attitude.
Yeah. Or even if you look at it as play, the way Abraham suggests, you want to pay down those bills? Have fun with it. Figure out how you're going to pay this bill and then pay that bill and what you're going to say, what you're going to do when you do it, and how it's going to, like, how you can game the system and have a great time with it. So it even could be an experiment, could be a game, which is another kind of experiment. Another thing you can do, oh, go ahead.
I just, before we get to the end of our session, I just wanted to respond to someone that's watching us live right now. B. Medit Out says, I'd like to get involved with your church. I've been watching for a few months. I've had a really hard year, a lot of loss and grief. I have been struggling with my drinking. This is a new year. I'm ready to surrender. I'm doing AA, but need something more. I love watching you every Sunday. I want to get involved. Unfortunately, I don't have a car, and it's too windy to ride my scooter, but if anyone would be willing to give me a ride, I'd love to come one day soon. Thank you for being so transparent and doing something different by all means, but all means the same.
We love you, and we are so glad you're here. And I'm so honored that you came to this class today, so I could talk to you personally and tell you how much we love you, how much we adore you, how much we're with you on your journey. We wish you very well with no alcohol and becoming the person you want to be. And just remember, every day, new start, new chance to be who you want to be. We all love you, right?
Yes, absolutely.
See nods.
Well, I think a large part of that also is getting back to intent and growing into the intention of who you want to be, not as a finality, but as the process of growing into that, creating an environment that allows us to know that we can do that. That is the most important thing I think we can do for ourselves, is just to tell ourselves, yes, I can do that. And what are the 3 steps I need to do today that help me to manifest whatever that might be into my life? And I think that with intent and the new year is really, to me, an important step.
Yeah.
What is it I need to do today with intent, whether it's a resolution or whatever, that takes me further into who I want to become. And I think in my highest endeavor, that's really the key.
All right, I'm going to take 1 minute and wrap up. Another pitfall. You can go too big too quickly. It's okay to take a small step into your new self without having to go that big. Your goal, another pitfall, might be based on self-loathing instead of self-love. Do something that reflects your great love for yourself. Here's a SMART goals that John was talking about. Make your goals specific so that you say, I don't want to exercise more, but I'd like to go to the gym 3 times a week. Measurable, maybe start a log. Could you turn that off?
She's working on it.
It has been very hard to get through these last points. So achievable, make your goal something that you know you can do, not something that's beyond your power. Realistic, so again, something that you know you can do. A time bound means be forgiving when life gets in the way, right? Other suggestions, use visual cues. If you'd like to drink more water, put a glass by your bed so when you get up, you remember to go get a drink of water, right? If you want to eat more fruits and vegetables, 5 a day to keep cancer away, keep a bowl of fruit in your kitchen, right? Celebrate when things go well. And I'll also say mnemonics. Have some little saying that reminds you. This year, one of my resolutions is to do something kind for myself on Tuesday, a little treat for myself. I've renamed Tuesday to Don't Mind If I Do'sday. So on Don't Mind If I Do'sday, I'm going to go have a spa treatment or buy myself something nice. I'm going to do something nice for myself. I also have a saying, make something, fix something, thank something, give something. Every day I try to do those things, right? And I just wanted to mention one last thing. Our 12 powers in Unity, they're all resolution powers, right? But especially we have the power of will, the power to make a choice and commit, based in the center of our brain, silver in color. Then we have the power of release, renunciation, cleansing, letting go, and that's russet, based in the abdomen, the letting go part of your body. So just remember, it's just our absolute birthright to make positive change we want to make. And that's it. Would you like to do our announcements? Sure. John's got our announcements.
Yeah, and the white stone ceremony, which is today, gives us an opportunity to let go of some stuff.
No, it's the burning bull.
Burning bull ceremony. White stone's is the
Next week.
Resolution.
that's the resolution. White stone's the resolution. Yeah. I knew it was the let go, but I said it wrong. Okay. All are welcome to join us for meditation every Sunday at 6 p.m. This is a time to quiet your mind, nourish your spirit, and connect with your inner peace. The church will be closed on January 1. Happy New Year. This Thursday. The next Unity Drum Circle will be held on New Year's Day at 6:30 p.m. So I guess
So
it will be open
for
for
circle.
6:30. Everyone is invited to join in, and we even have drums to loan if you don't have one of your own. Next Sunday during our celebration service, Amy Burnett will lead us through one of our annual rituals, the White Stone Ceremony. This ceremony invites us to release the old, listen within, and receive a new name or word that symbolizes divine guidance for the year ahead. Next Sunday is our Friendship Sunday potluck. Bring a friend in a dish to share and join us in Fellowship Hall right after the service. Please sign up in the foyer with what you plan to bring and if you can help with cleanup. If we each pick 1 month a year to help with the cleanup, no one will have to do it more than once a year. We also have to be we'll also be taking down holiday decorations. Yes. And because we will be setting up the potluck for next Sunday, we will not have our New Thought adult education class at 9:15 next Sunday.
Well, we had 2 today.
This gives everyone extra time to make something or buy something delicious to bring for the potluck. We have 4 weeks left of our HVAC donation challenge, and we are almost there. We have donors who will match up to $5,000 collected towards the new youth wing HVAC system. Stop by the table just outside the sanctuary doors to see our progress and donate to this challenge. In January, we will be electing 5 new board members. If you have an active member for at least 1 year and are interested in being on our board, please pick up an application in the office. Applications are due by January 14th. Mark your calendars. Diana Kennedy is coming to share her energy and joy with us again. She will present her workshop, Soul Revolution, Claim Your Vision, on Saturday, January 27th, and she will return on Sunday as our guest speaker for our celebration service. Her workshop will offer a sacred space to gain clarity, reconnect with your soul's wisdom, and boldly claim the vision you are ready to live. You can sign up at the connection table. This is a suggested love offering of $15, but no one will be turned away. And would you like to recognize a special occasion or person during the service? You can do so by sponsoring the weekly flowers. The cost of $50 is to be paid at the office. The office will order your flowers from the flower merchant, who will create a beautiful flower arrangement to be displayed on the platform during the service. We will announce who and what the flowers are for, and you can take them home after the service. All you have to do is pick the Sunday you want and then sign up on the bulletin board just outside the sanctuary doors. That's it. Oh,
I just have a question. I received a card in the mail this week, and the name on it was Rebecca, I think, Cannon, but I'm not for sure on anything. That said, Unity Church will be meeting from 9 to 11, starting the 1st of January. I just don't know if anybody else has received that or what that is about, but I just thought I would let somebody know that I have no idea who that is. It only had that's the only note that was in there, and it was addressed to me. So I don't know who that was. If somebody else gets this, it's not so.
that's not us. I'm not sure who it is.
Okay, but if somebody else got that, for whatever reason, I don't know.
We can look for
It looks like it's in Blue Springs. Have you ever been to Blue Springs, Missouri?
Nope,
it. Kansas City suburb.
nope, haven't been to either of those places.
Yeah, you can